Hello Spartans and welcome back to another tier list. Today we're going to be checking out some of the best U10 mods that I think are incredible, and we have DLC here to help out. Say hi, man.
Hi, I'm in the background. You can't see me, but you can hear me.
So actually, I say DLC's here to help out. This first part is on DLC's channel, and the second part should be over on my channel when it is done. There's 20 overall, 10 for each video, so I hope you guys actually disagree with us on where we put these, and I hope there's some mods you didn't know about, because we got a few hidden gems in here.
Let's put some ground rules here, Schmidt. We want to just
Absolutely.
blanket this and say that all these mods on this list are baseline good. So there's no disrespect in any direction. So our bottom of the tier list is good. So here's how it works. Good, great, outstanding, amazing, and legendary. So there's no hard feelings. All these mods are fantastic, and we just want to put that out there.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. Yeah, any modders who are watching this and your mod is featured and it does go in a lower tier, there is no bad tier. Good is our lowest tier, so let's put that out there. Okay, so Honorless. Let's see, it features some weapons and some spells, so let's grab a couple of the weapons from that mod. So it has its own section that actually merges with another mod called Tools of the Trade, which we won't be covering in this video, but it has a few little things. So first of all, you have the Corvo's mask, which does go straight on your face, and it's more of a cosmetic item for third person.
You can also beat people with that as well. That's one of my favorite things
That's
to do.
true. That's true. It does have a damager. It has a blunt damager on the face. We also have all three of Corvo's folding blades, so I think we'll take that. And they're all very nicely animated as well. What else do we have from this mod, this DLC?
Well, you have some crazy spells here. One of the first spells, if not the only one, is called the Blink spell. And I challenge you to use it because I always blink myself into a wall, but if you can be a master of it, I mean, by all means, be a master of it.
It actually has the sound effects from the game, which is what really gets me excited about it. I really enjoy it. So we pull out our sword and we equip our blink spell. And what you can do is if you're in a sticky situation, you can jump, it will freeze you in the air, and you can get out of it very easily with the blink spell. So for the entire kind of roleplay aspect of the mod, I think it gains points. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Roleplay in general. I mean, just look at your left hand. You have a badass tattoo on it right now. Show them that tattoo.
I forgot about that.
When you're using the powers of Dishonored. And did you know that you can also double jump with this installed? So go ahead and double jump.
Absolutely. Let's get ourselves up here with the blink, and we can actually probably make it over to that pillar. Let's try.
Jump. Jump again. Oh, you overshot.
Well, anyway, there's a lot of high quality modding gone into this, especially with the coding of the decals and the animations and everything. I think it's incredible.
Absolutely.
Where do you want to put this, man? What are you thinking?
Well, you have to start this one off. I want you to set the precedent, and then we'll go from there.
Ooh.
So remember, legendary is the highest of all tiers. Highest of all. Step down is amazing. Right in the middle is outstanding.
I'm thinking it's got to be amazing. It's not quite legendary, but it's got to be amazing, man. It's very, very good.
I could feel that. I mean, if it had a couple of other spells in it also, maybe like all the moves from the game, maybe that would get up to legendary. Like if you could summon a rat and the rat can eat a person, then that would have gotten legendary. But I agree with the amazing category.
What have we got up next on our list?
Up next is Sectory. And Sectory is, I use that one every day, every video. So I wonder where you're going to put it.
Let's grab a couple of weapons that we can use to abuse the systems of Sectory. I think we'll take a dagger and a mace. That should do it. Sectory is essentially a complete overhaul of the injury system in the game. It adds bone breaking, where if you hit a part hard enough...
He just got knocked unconscious. It's very complex, and I wonder if it's going to be hard to showcase everything that it does right now. But even if something is not working, I promise it's there.
There we go. So, arm broken. So it seems like you have to really put some power into it and maybe give it a couple stabs, and you'll break their arms. And their arms will go completely limp and will not be able to do anything.
Yeah, it's really funny once they have a noodly arm and they try to pick up a weapon next to them. Like, they keep trying, and they're like, no, I want that weapon. You're like, nah, it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah, they're like doing this, like they can't pick up the weapon at all, and it's just funny as hell, man. It's great. Now, there is another feature that I'm going to have to turn on low physics for. I already have low physics on, so that's fantastic. And That is neck snapping. So if you grab the enemy by the head, you can actually twist the neck and break their neck.
Yeah, that's very fun to do. I mean, like, to me, I can just keep twisting them. Now, yes, you are 100% right with low physics. That's the quick way to do it. But
Yes.
you can also edit files. But if you don't want to edit files, absolutely, low physics.
There are also other features of Sectory that I will demonstrate quickly.
Like bleeding
Very small
out.
features.
Bleeding
Yes.
is great.
So if I stab this guy once, give it a second, hopefully, yeah, he just bleeds out and dies.
I love that. That's such a cool feature. I feel like Ultimate Samurai, Ultimate Anime, when I'm doing that one, it's like a delayed death. You can just run, cut them, and out of nowhere they're like, "Am I dead?" And then they're dead. It's an exciting
Absolutely. So here's one more thing that I want you to show that you might not actually know about. I'm not sure if you do DLC, but if you push an enemy to the floor, there is actually pressure dismemberment in the mod. So if you can try to push the weapon down, I think you actually need to grab it like this. You can push it down and cut heads off.
It's that to me is so cool because you can get some really visceral combat. Especially, I like to turn their health up a little bit higher. So, you know, sometimes I put them on 500. I put them on 1,000 just to get a boss. And that pressure one, fun to use. Exactly. Put them up against the wall and just saw their appendages off.
Absolutely. It's so cool. You can also do slicing like that dismemberment, which rather than full slashes, you can just slice and cut their head off. So where do you want to put Sectory? Let's let you judge this one and see if we agree.
Here it is. I'm judging this one. Judgment has been cast. I use it all the time. It's a staple in every video. Even when I'm not recording a video and just playing it, it's there. So the work that went into it, the amount of brains, everything. I want to put it in Legendary. However, it's going to go in the amazing category from my end. The reason being is because there is one, maybe two other mods that you install with it that gets it into Legendary, but it as its own is not Legendary without them.
Million billion percent.
Million billion percent.
It's very close to Legendary, but not quite.
So up next is a mod that's probably near and dear to everyone's hearts, and we're not going to showcase everything inside of it, and we're going to keep this one pretty short and sweet, but we want to make sure we cover a lot, and that is the Medieval Mega Pack.
So as you can see here, there is the dagger, blade, all these different categories that you can run through for MMP. There is actually, how many categories is there? There's around 20 categories. It's kind of insane. Each category should have a ton of weapons for you to explore, and there is actually over 300 weapons in the pack. But I'm going to pull out a few weapons and we'll take a look at some of the more unique ones. So we have these Japanese claws that would definitely give a go, which actually have a very interesting feature, so maybe we'll take 2 of those. We also have a weapon that I actually designed with Sushin, which I think is fantastic, and that's the Zanbato. I will be doing some more stuff later with that. And, I don't know, DLC, do you want to pick a favorite weapon for me to show out from
Yes,
this?
I
Do you
want
have
you
a
to
personal
show
favorite?
the Yumi bow with the bodkin arrow.
Let's try out a few of these weapons. So it has a few fully functioning bows with all the arrows you could ever want. And they are beautiful. I mean, look at the models for this mod. The amount of 300 unique models.
Yeah, and
I think that's insane.
The reason why I had you choose the Yumi bow is, unlike the normal one, other composite bows or the vanilla one you get, it's a little bit bigger, and the drawstring, if you're using headphones and other headsets, it can get in the way. So this one is a better drawback, and it's a little bit easier to wield.
I
Plus,
agree.
Those bodkin
I'm not
arrows,
showing-
they just shoot. They're just like, whoo, look at that.
No, we also have these claws, which are very unique. And do you know why they are unique?
Because you can climb with them. So if you suck at climbing, or you're pretty low tier climbing, like I'm pretty low tier climbing, I'm not gonna lie. These ones, I don't use them that often, but if I want to be like a cool climb boy, I'll use these ones.
I'm struggling.
Yeah, you're pretty low tier climb also, it looks like.
And they also do a lot of damage.
Yeah, you can definitely give an intense high five with that one.
Yeah, just like, high five, bro. Oh, and our last weapon, which I am very proud of through this design, as, I mean, I didn't design it, but I suggested it. The Zanbato, which if you have played Dark Souls, you may recognize it as very similar to the Murakumo sword, and I love it. It is a beast when it comes to damage. Absolutely gorgeous model as well. He's actually upped, if you didn't know this, DLC, he's upped the quality of models, and if people want to submit models, there is a very high bar to meet now.
Ooh.
But he does take submissions if you are a good modeler, so anyone watching, keep an eye out for that. Where do you want to put this? I think it has to be kind of obvious.
I think it has to be kind of obvious also. Complete F tier. Just kidding. This is going to be our very first legendary tier.
Absolutely. It's been around since... God, I could it even be U6? I think it was U7 or U6, dude.
Yeah, I think U7 is when I first started noticing it, but it has been around a while. Bunch of different iterations, tons of new weapons, and there's even some not non-functioning weapons, but weapons that you would never use ever, which are there also, which is super fun.
What do we have next, man?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now this is going to be a very quick one, quality of life. It's also a requirement for a lot of other mods, especially on this list, and that's called more slots.
This is one of my personal favorites, and I'm going to show you why it's one of my personal favorites. Have you ever gone into a dungeon and thought, you know, I don't have enough death on me. I don't have enough instruments of destruction. Well, funnily enough, this mod allows you to take way more. So, if you want a long sword and another claymore, for example, and you want to just take along maybe 2 daggers with you, that's your loadout done. What are you going to do? Well, this mod allows you to grab any more weapons and put them on your legs. You can even grab weapons and put them on your chest. And there is even slots on your forearms.
Yeah, having more slots on reminds me of the original Matrix where they walk through like the metal detector and they're like, do you have any guns on you? And he opens up and he's just like lined. He has like 500 things on him. That's what more slots reminds me of.
Not only that, I think you have 16 new slots. So you have slots on your feet down here. So if you're sneaking, you can actually put a weapon on your leg here and you can just have like a boot knife and pull up the weapon from your leg, which I'm doing a bad example of, and kill.
But which honestly is huge, because if you're playing, if you're crouched down, especially in VR, you don't really have access to your hips. Like when you're crouched, your hips are like where your shoulders are. So having them like a quick boot knife is very important.
Absolutely, yeah. It means a lot of the time when I'm stealthing, I have to come up behind someone like this, stand back up to get my dagger, and then kill. And the boot knife slot is my personal favorite, just for the reason that I can come up behind this guy like this, not have to stand up, and still pull my weapon out. So man, where do you think we should put this as a simple quality of life but very well executed mod?
Yeah, I'm torn because it's a very utility piece, right? So not a good thought went into it, and high amount of skill. It's well executed, but it doesn't feel like legendary. It doesn't feel like amazing. I want to put it in either outstanding or great.
I think it's a good middle of the road outstanding, just because of the amount of utility. And it feels like I even spoke to Baron and mentioned that maybe even there should be chest slots for potions in-game. So this kind of mod can inspire real in-game changes.
Yeah, so let's put that in outstanding then. This next mod is so near and dear to my heart. I love it. So if it gets low, I'm going to cry in real life. And it's called Realistic Bleeding.
Yeah, so as you can see, it has kind of worked on me already. But let's demonstrate it on an enemy. So we're going to pull out Huntsman's Knife, since I really like the model. It's very simple. And we're just going to spawn a lovely dummy to test this on. So Realistic Bleeding not only adds blood trickles and spilling, but it also adds things that you wouldn't expect from a very simple mod, like actual realistic bleeding, where if you punch them in the nose, if I'm right, maybe I didn't hit them hard enough, he should start to bleed out his nose and mouth. I think that's awesome. We also have things like slashes, bleed, and depending on the way they're held, it actually trickles. Oh, it's so amazing, man.
I know. And the fact that the blood gets on you also it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy in a good way.
There's also things like if you actually manage to hit someone hard enough, I think if you hit them in the lungs, I can't remember. Yep, they bleed out their mouth and nose.
Yeah, a lot of thought, a lot of love went into this one. So I think I'm going to let you start it, and then I'll hope to correct it if it gets too low. So place this one for us, Schmidt.
Okay, so it's a very simple and small mod, but it adds something that I don't think even the developers had thought of. So I think it has to be a solid amazing for me. It has to be second to top tier.
Yeah,
Gotta be there.
I'll agree with that one for sure, because something I use every day, amazing quality of life, well executed, fantastic, but definitely not legendary.
What do we have next, dude?
Oh, well, next is it's a new mod, so I don't think a lot of people have used it just yet, and it is a spell mod. So this one, and I've pronounced it wrong in the past, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong again, probably not on purpose, but it's called Armament Haki, or Hockey, however people are saying. So we're using the spell wheel enhancer. We're going to try and find this one.
There it is.
So you'll know when it's casted because your hands will change color. Like they look really dark. So
You look like a shadow, essentially.
it enables you to use your hands like weapons. So if you want to, even if you're not a fan of One Piece and you want to be able to block swords and spears and daggers with your hands, this lets you. Yeah, look at those effects
You
going
also do a
off.
lot more damage
Yeah,
with your hands as well.
And just add in
Very
another
cool.
layer to the game, because the game doesn't really have like working gauntlets per se, especially because your character's elbows don't work. But having this one makes unarmed combat pretty much taken to the next level, which is exciting.
Especially the fact that you're just kind of there, just like doing a kind of Matrix thing of just not even looking, just blocking and finishing them off. You just feel incredibly strong. And for those kind of people who love to feel like a god in this game, me personally, I like to play more realistic, but for people who enjoy that kind of stuff, this combined with a super strength mod could just make you feel like just unbeatable. And I think this mod is a solid great.
You want to know what? I'm not going to fight you on that one. It does its job. You know, it's cool. It has its, it's changing the textures. It does its job. I did want it to affect like the whole arm, and I don't know, maybe if you turn on self collision, that also gives you block up to a certain point. But I have noticed that when I use it, I feel like I would have blocked something and I still get hit. So that's why I'm a little weary of it. So I think it's definitely earned its spot in great. Well, a mod to end all other mods. Now this one is made by the fabled Lyneca himself, and it is called the Shatter Blade.
Oh, wow. So, I don't think we'll show all features of this weapon because it's kind of fun to discover what there is by itself, but we will grab the Shatter Blade. The Shatter Blade is made of many different components, as you can see. By pressing the spell button, you can extend the blade and make it longer and separate all the components. Not just that, you also can pull out this bottom left part and use it as a gun. And I think that is awesome. If you just let go, it becomes a sword again. Is this how I make it a flamethrower?
Yeah.
Is that not how I make it a flamethrower?
I think it's exactly how you make it a flamethrower.
Okay, so you can actually imbue all the different pieces, and you can actually send each separate piece as a flaming fireball. Not just that, you could just whip out any kind of magic, like dump a bit of lightning in there, mix stuff up a little bit. And now you have a mix of elements on your blade. And if I grab the blade back, let go, we have an incredibly powerful mixed element blade.
Yeah, this is
And I think
one
that
of
is
the
so
only weapons that I can recall, modded wise, that can be imbued with multiple things. You can actually, anything that can be imbued on this one will be imbued. So you can break this into many different pieces and imbue each individual piece. Now, like you said before, you don't want to showcase everything that the Shatterblade can do because it is fun to just find it out on your own. It does come with a tutorial one, like we saw in the book before, but we are unable to show it. So do you think it's time that we give the Shatterblade its official ranking?
I am going to have a disagreement with most people, so I want to kind of give you the first choice on this.
Okay, there is a lot to the Shatterblade. I've showcased it before. I like using it. However, it's not a weapon that stays in my current mod list. I don't really gonna go in there and use it all the time, but it's amazing for what it is. And I think I'm letting on too much where I would absolutely put this in amazing, nearly touching legendary. It's about to touch legendary. It's trying to pull itself up, but it's just not quite there just yet. So I'll put it in amazing, at least for myself.
I have to completely agree with you there. I would love to put it higher, but unfortunately for me, It's just not quite there because I don't use it enough. So yeah, I would have to say amazing just for the technicality and high quality modding. And just because I've never seen anything like it before.
So the next mod on this list is actually something we've been using all video because it's quality of life, and that speaks to how amazing it is. And that is called the NPC Spawner Spell.
This spell is one of my favorites. Talion, love you, buddy. Thank you so much for making such an incredible, not only content creators tool, but actually it's a really good modders tool as well. And I'm going to show you why. We have 3 functions of the mod. We have the dummy, which is a very simple spawning creature, because it doesn't really do anything. It kind of just sits there. But it's good if you want to test or practice weapons or mods. So most modders like it because they can test different things and see what's working, and then hop out really quick. So it's as simple as, rather than starting a wave, you can just boom, spawn, test. If it works, you're back out again. It's a fantastic tool. Now there is also 2 other functions of this spell, and that is, first of all, the enemies. So you can spawn enemies by pressing grip while charging the spell, and it should turn red. This allows you to summon fightable enemies that should attack you when you spawn them. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah,
I think that allows people...
The important part there, Schmidt, is that you can spawn them anywhere. So if you're in a map that doesn't have a spawn thing, and we don't have a portable spawn wave just yet, or you know that something wasn't going to spawn there, but you really want to fight someone on that really cool bridge, that's where the NPC Spawner Spell comes in, because you can be like, boom, enemy right over there.
Now the last feature we have is the friendly spawner. So I'm going to switch to an enemy, and we also have a friendly here. If we spawn them both, they should start to battle, and I think that's awesome. If
now,
you ever get
I also
lonely,
think that this is awesome. However, U10 has some weird quality of life that they try to call it. I call them bugs, but it's meant to happen where these NPCs will not kill each other. I think you have to be very close to them for their collision to actually work, but they either suck or they intentionally miss.
So what happens is actually physics culling, and it basically means that these NPCs cannot have physics if I am not engaged in combat. So unfortunately, yeah, that is a problem. But now, as you can see, now I am engaged with them. They are now actually hitting each other and colliding. I think it's just really cool to have a friend here to battle with you.
Absolutely.
We love to see it.
Now the time of reckoning has come for the NPC Spawner Spell. We gotta put it somewhere on our list.
I think it's gonna go in an outstanding. I think it's a great mod, but I don't think it quite reaches amazing because it's nothing spectacular, honestly. It adds a lot of utility, but it's not very flashy, it's not very incredibly impressive. It's just kind of great.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely a utility item. In the right hands, it can be made to do other things. You can spawn Jonathans, you can spawn custom NPCs, you can give them different weapons, but you do have to know how to do that. And a lot of people that download mods just want to fire and forget. They want to do any of the work themselves. So I agree, outstanding. Oh, well, next is a super fun one. It's a little bit gesture-based, but that is called the Spectral Armory.
Okay, Spectral Armory. Wow, I've not used this since the beginning of U10. Let's pull out Spectral Armory. So, Spectral Armory has a few features, and I think what's really cool about it is if you ever find yourself stuck without a weapon, no need to fear. Spectral Armory has you covered. So, you want to charge the spell and move your hand in any direction, and it will spawn a different weapon for each direction. So, you push it away from you, you get yourself an axe. You push it up, you get yourself a dagger. You push it to the right, you get a shield. And if you push it down, you get a short sword. With merging, you can actually do up and you'll get a spear. Now these are the bigger weapons. And you can move down for a long sword, which is my personal favorite.
You could also spawn a bow, I believe, as well.
There we go. So we have the spectral bow that actually summons arrows.
So fun. I love just the arrow summoning. Don't even have to worry. It's like the machine gun version.
Yeah, it's literally the machine gun bow. It's crazy. And I'm going to try and get this torch to spawn, so we'll be with you when it spawns. Hey! There it is. So if you move your hand inwards, you will get a work in progress torch, which actually has a blue light that lights things up.
Look how cool it is. The emitter just looks fantastic.
It really does. Like, they say he says this is work in progress. This looks pretty much finished to me. This is great. So, Spectral Armory, what do you think, man?
Well. I mean, there's definitely some jank to it, but it's, you know, I think it's jank as intended just because it's gesture casting. And I don't know if there's any other way of doing that one. So this one is kind of tough. I love it itself. I wish the weapons looked a little cooler, but for what it is, it does it well. So I'm actually going to go ahead and say that this is in the great category. I think to push it into at least the outstanding, I would like a little bit better models, and maybe the models themselves when you're using them, if they kind of like looked more ghostly. I don't know. That's just kind of my take.
Couldn't have said it better myself, bro.
All right, everyone. You have to promise, and I mean promise again, in the comment section, write I promise, because we're going to show you something, and you are not allowed to do any weird things, because it's a Lilhusky mod, and that is the custom avatar framework plus custom avatars.
We actually downloaded his latest avatar for this demonstration.
Just so everyone knows, I try to fight Schmitto for these avatars, so hands off on this one.
And we're going to spawn Egypt's girl.
Oh, Lord.
Now, this is a bot asset by Husky, so you can really see where his head's at. And I think it's interesting. So they'll spawn like that first, give them a second, they'll disappear, and they'll turn into the avatar that they are intended. And we have full cloth physics, for once in Blade and Sorcery.
Which is
and
impressive.
We have,
super impressive to have that.
It is, and full hair physics, and I think the actual model looks pretty good.
Now, because it's a custom framework, I think this next piece that you should show, Lilhusky put a lot of work into it, not just the facial animations and everything like that, but you should be able to actually dismember these custom avatars.
Yes, this is what I'm trying to do. As you can see, there we go. So he's managed to make fully dismemberable enemies. Now, unfortunately, when their legs are dismembered, you can't access any parts of their body.
Which is a good thing. We don't want you putting anything in your guys' freezers.
That's very true. I mean, I think you can pick up the head. Yes.
Oh,
so you can pick up the head.
Oh, Lord.
I shouldn't. And they do T-pose sometimes. Because, again, U10 just came out and they are working on a few things. But overall, I think it's pretty damn solid. And it just gives so much opportunity for the game while we wait for creatures to be added properly. I think it's awesome.
I agree. There are other NPCs to download. There's a rat. There's Shaggy. They're up there, so you can definitely download what you want.
You can even download Garfield if you would like.
There is a Garfield one for sure. So, using the framework itself, we're just judging the framework, not the avatars. I want you to go ahead and place this on the list for me.
Okay, since it was such a revolutionary mod before we got creatures, what do I say here? I've got to say it's an amazing. Because of the framework.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with the amazing standpoint. And we probably need to answer this question, right? Why isn't this legendary? Why wouldn't you put this in legendary?
This isn't legendary, I would say personally, due to the jank of it. Due to the fact that when you spawn an NPC, it's kind of dodgy. They kind of spawn in as not the NPC first, then take a minute, disappear and spawn in. And they also T-pose a little bit sometimes. There's a lot of jank to it, but it works as intended, I would say a good 80% of the time, which is really nice. And considering it was never designed to be in the game, it's a very, 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 very complex mod to be working this well.
I could not agree more.
Okay, so that was our first 10 mods featured on DLC's channel. The next 10 will be over on my channel. We will continue the tier list. So essentially, it will be one episode split into two. So you guys can watch both videos and still get fresh content. So we still have 10 more mods to be on the other video. So don't worry, there is a lot more still to come. As well as that, they should both be up. So don't worry about having to wait. They should be right over there for you to go and watch. And I just want to say thank you for watching this video over on DLC's channel. DLC, you say your thing, man.
Hey, I'm saying a bunch of things right now, everyone. Honestly, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I like partnering with Schmitto on these videos. We love bringing you these tier lists. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe to his channel as well. Link is in the description. Also, the link to both Discords will be there. And if you want to be super awesome, we have other links for Patreon as well. But we don't expect anything other than that. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Rob from Downloadable Content. This is Schmitto from Spawner Armory, and we will see you in part 2.